That should be fine. Hello everybody. Last minute touches, last minute experiments, and hopefully we're live and hopefully we're going to be with us for 3 hours this afternoon. My name is Mark. Welcome to Djuma Game Reserve. Tara is on camera and Seb is in final control, and we're about to head out on a really beautiful afternoon. The cold weather that we had really blowy conditions yesterday as it blew in this cold front. Cold front hit us last night and it's starting to clear. It's finally starting to clear. The patches of blue sky. We're going to get patches of sunshine this afternoon. That's going to have a great effect on photography. So I hope we're going to find some things to film. But yeah, beautiful afternoon. Let's go and see what we can find today. Get my monitor right. But I'm up there. I was on the wrong setting. HDMI. High definition media input, maybe. Any ideas? What does HDMI stand for? That's my guess. Where are we going today?
Straight.
Straight. Okay, Tara said straight. That was the first answer in my head. Didn't see a bird flying anyway. Straight it is. Kind of a show and tell today. I brought a few toys. We'll see if the subject comes up. 2 toys. We can always find more toys to talk about. It depends on the input from all of you out there. Questions and queries, and what do you want to know? What can I tell you about Djuma Game Reserve in a natural history context rather than a human history context? Okay, I want to show you something. This is not a dung quiz, not a track quiz. This is a show you a different kind of teaching experiment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drive halfway up the wall of this road and it'll point the vehicle down. Get a better look at these tracks. If Tara can handle the angle.
I assume this is what we're looking at.
Yeah. No, it's not that great without the sun. I was thinking maybe also further back. But what we're looking at are tracks from Lion last night, and the edge of the road. I'm going to go there and just show you in a minute how soft the sand is, but I don't need to point out the tracks. And Tara does a great explanation of how the tracks are shaped and how to identify them. But in terms of just what they look like, this is tracks in soft sand, very soft sand. So an animal's foot goes into the sand, and when the foot comes out of the sand, a lot of the soft sand falls into the track. So there are times when it doesn't quite resemble the exact shape of the animal that we're talking about, and sometimes it's not as big or as distinct. Sometimes because animals run through sand rather than walk, it displaces more sand, almost like the impact crater of something hitting a dusty surface like the moon. Makes it bigger than the track. I'm going to try and go to that particular one. I want to show you, put my fingers in the sand in between those 2 tracks, and I'll show you what I mean. I don't know how well you can see that, but anyways, just goes to show how something that doesn't have splayed toes, something that doesn't have a flattish foot would just sink straight into that sand. Very soft sand. Changes tracks completely. And a little bit further up, only a few feet further up, is where the sand evens out into softer sand, and it's more powdery. And because it's more powdery, it blows more by the wind, and because of that, it's a lot thinner. Thanks, Seb. Yeah, I saw that actually just before I left FC. 2.3 million viewers.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot of I've got a lot of chicken dancing to do.
And the chicken soup.
Chicken soup. Yeah, I should be chicken soup by now. Where are we looking at? A couple of those same lion tracks, but further up. Let's see, where have we got? Is there anywhere that we'll be able to see it?
Yeah, kind of.
But I don't know. Trying to be a little bit down from the sun.
Kind
No, you can't see that one. Come one set further close. But it's further close.
The two that you were looking at, we can kind of see.
Yeah, those would be good ones to do a cast of because they're really well defined, but from this angle not. But that's because the ground is hard. I think that's the main thing I was trying to point out, is that when the ground gets hard and there's just a slight powdery dust, you might see more definition, but you've got to look really hard to see the shape of the track and the toes. So this is my hint to you when you're doing your tracking quizzes with Tara. Try and take that into account when you're guessing what Tara is trying to show you. Throw a spanner in the works. You can't really see it on the camera what density the sand is, but generally speaking, when you see this light colored sand that we're on now, this very pale beige, lighter than lion color, that's the sandy soil. It's been washed clean of biological material, detritus. 2.3 million viewers, yes. What's that white thing? That white thing that was in the road. Ah. Thanks, Bunny and Bill. I was almost right. High definition media interface rather than high definition media input, I think I said. Lots of nice tracks.
High definition thing.
Huh?
High definition media input.
Interface.
Oh, interface.
Nice tracks here for casts, Tara. Line tracks on the edge that, well, I don't know, would have needed to do them. Would have needed to do them today. The car's driving up, and every time a car goes past a track like this, we're not really driving very fast. We're not creating a dust cloud, and we're not creating a little bit of a vortex behind us. But a lot of cars that do drive here, because this goes out to the gate, it's not like they're speeding. They drive within the limit, but that's enough to create the vortex and a dust cloud, and that it's almost like a silent breath blowing over a track, and it makes it age hours in seconds because a car goes past. So when you're tracking, you've got to remember to gauge the age of a track by the amount of traffic that there is on a road, and that's easy enough to establish. The more traffic, the bigger the road.
So it could do with Jigger actually being able to go out during the afternoon.
Well, we're making arrangements for that. I've spoken to Nicky about that today. Had a meeting with him. We're going to get Jigger up, and so that we can also go and get supplies at the lodge, so that we can go down to the camera, so we can go and do the things that we need to do, and do some data, especially now. Everything is coming out now. We should be spending an hour or two at least in between drives out there in the jigger, discovering stuff that we can be talking about on drives, things that we want to teach ourselves, things that we want to learn. There are things that I see on drive that I know I'm never going to get to unless I go out in another vehicle, and things that I want to learn about.
Yeah, it would definitely be handy because then I can go out and do the casting.
Are we still going straight, by the way?
Oh, sorry. No,
No.
going left at the next left.
Oh, we're going at the next left. Going left at the next left. Okay.
Instead of going right at the next left.
Okay, we won't go right at the next left.
I suppose we could go right at the next left.
We could go right after the next left.
Yeah.
This is Vuyatela Access Road. There's a map. Find it, follow it. There were fire warnings yesterday, and I'm wondering if some of this that we're seeing is haze from fires and weather and rain coming in contact with each other. Not really smelling much in the way of fire.
You also let everybody know the who done it designs for the shop is Sept.
Ah, okay, so you've decided.
No, well they've got to decide. They
Oh.
can click on which one they like. It's on
Ah,
the
okay.
Facebook page.
Right, so for the online shop, here's the thing, here's the rub. The online shop needs a whodunit and a logo, and the
There's
logo,
3 people that came back.
3.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are 3 people that have suggested. Oh, his day on Thursday. And it's up online where?
On my public Facebook page.
On Tara's public Facebook
They
page.
put links on all the other pages.
Have you put it on my page?
No.
Okay. Well, somebody can put it on my page. Link to the Who Dung It logo vote.
The one with the most likes will be used.
And the one with the most likes will be used. Hello, Magic Worry. Looking quite magic this time of the year with your flowers. Here's a really nice question. Hello, Mary Jane from Florida. I like this question. Lateral thinking kind of question. And the last couple of days, yesterday morning for our special broadcast and this morning, we sat with Elephant at one of the digging holes. And Mary Jane is asking a number of questions about these elephant digging holes, how long they last, how many do they dig, and well, it's very interesting because I've come across it in many different parts of Africa. Perhaps not as many parts of Africa that I've always had elephants that have had access to good flowing oxygenated water, and perhaps it's more a case of oxygenated water rather than stagnant water, more than clean versus dirty, because elephants have a different classification for what is clean for them. And right now, this time of the year, the heat is sapping the oxygen from these ponds and the dams, and the hippo tend to oxygenate, they tend to turn the water a little bit. I'm sure they add a bit of methane and carbon monoxide as well. But some of these pans, water holes and wallows are getting so muddy, and we see the algal bloom that starts on it, and well, they're oxygen starved. So elephants the drier it gets, the more they seek out better water sources, cleaner water sources. And there's no better place than a riverbed. And the places where we are now, these elephants could easily trek down to the Sand River, and that is, in fact, not even the Sand River, even further downstream. From where they are, when it gets closer to Baboon Pan, they probably find, and they've actually been there, there's better water there. They just utilize whatever water they've got at the time. But the drier it gets, and the more the temporary water sources dry up, the more there is a need to not have to go somewhere else for water. If there's water around you and you can dig for it and you can have it, stay in that particular feeding ground, because you're comfortable, you've been there for a while, you're accustomed to the sounds. There's a whole social thing going on with all the other families that are coming through. It's almost as though it's like there's going to be this big spring picnic one day and all the elephants are going to turn up for it. And I'm not joking. I've seen 80 elephants just appear out of nowhere for 10 or 20 minutes once. But all of those elephants had been in the area at some point. It was just, timing was good that they could all suddenly come together. And they'll utilize whatever water they have. In some places where they've got to either dig for water or walk miles to get it, they'd rather just dig. It's clean water, it satisfies the need. The question of whether other animals use it, yes they do. Not many other animals dig for water. Termites dig for water. Can't think of many other things that do. But a lot of things use elephant diggings to get their own water, and it's because of that that you'll get a different number of digging places wherever they may be. Eventually, and what we were seeing today is proof of this, eventually they dig so much and they splash around so much that they actually get so much sand around it that it caves in and it closes up the hole, and that's when they have to start another one. And in places there where I've done walks where you can see that maybe for centuries they've done this, in the dry riverbeds there are these semi-caverns where over time the ground has continued to erode. Anyways, it's interesting. In very dry places it attracts an incredible amount of life, and for me it's the kind of life that makes life interesting. The insects, the spiders, the reptiles, the birds. But there's a sad side to it, because it is a sandy digging, it is prone to collapse, and animals have been trapped. I think Seb has mentioned, Tara has mentioned, a couple of people who do some wonderful film work in Botswana, Derek and Beverly Joubert, and I can't remember the outcome of it, but they once came across a hyena that was trapped. A hyena that had been sitting in one of these holes with its back in one of these holes, waiting out the heat of the day, basically having a wallow. And the more it moved around, the more the water sloshed and eroded the insides, and eventually this bank collapsed on top of this hyena. And so animals do use them, but sometimes at their peril. It's a boon for the birds and butterflies and wasps and bees and all of their predators. I take it we should go left at this left.
Left, yeah.
Due to lack of direction from my GPS at the back, I chose to choose my own route. I hope it doesn't drive us into a dam, but that only really happens when you follow your GPS.
In 150 meters, turn right.
You know what, Tara? I bet you if we had to use your voice and sell it to TomTom or someone, we'd be able to make enough money to keep the drives going, selling your voice as a Jeep. Do that again?
Yeah, people will get lost though.
People would get lost. They'd end up at a Rhinum and or a,
I'm sure you could do that.
at the next Rhinum, turn left. Okay, it's one of those days. There's not really that much out yet.
There's a Darth Vader one out.
I know there's a Darth Vader one, but have you seen the wonderful YouTube clip of Darth Vader doing the recording?
Yes, yes.
That's even funnier because it's like really Darth Vader in the recording studio at the round and with James Earl Jones, his voice
Roundabout.
at the roundabout.
Roundabout, he said.
Roundabout.
Roundabout.
The roundabout. At the roundabout. Yes, Seb.
In 100 meters.
Oh. Janet wants to know if there's quicksand in Africa. Some parts of the beach, but quicksand is only really a phenomenon if water is involved, not so much. I don't know how true the whole quicksand cartoon thing is, but I want to special welcome today, Tuesday, Monday. I just want to welcome a first grade class, Seb, and I need to know the school. And hello everybody, we've got a class with us this afternoon, and that makes me very happy. So I want to know what we can do to make this class, this particular lesson. They've been with us already for about 20 minutes. I've been talking too much probably.
And nothing really part of the natural world either.
But Miss Mac. Okay, Miss Mac. Manaway. There was a little antelope. Mac Manaway. Okay, so we better find you kids something. Welcome to our drive. It's nice to have a group with us, and it's not something that really needs pre-arrangement. You just got to, if you can tune in with a classroom on any particular day, and you can get the class to watch the drive, by all means. From the moment we get news that we got a classroom, like right now, this is your stage. Tell me what you want me to do. But we can look at the Balanites coming into leaf. We can actually look at these trees that we're looking at now, the skeletons. We're going through a great change. The overall look of the bush might be dry and everything might be dead, just looking at it from your screens, but when you start to look close, there's all these little bits of life bursting through, and this is a really special tree. This is called a torchwood. It's almost like a tree out of a fairy tale, just the way the bark and the trunk and the whole tree twists, and it's almost like it was liquid once. And the grey stuff on it is all lichen. That's another story. In fact, if you're a class and you're going to join me again, my project to you would be to look up what lichen is, L-I-C-H-E-N, so that next time you come aboard you can tell me what you found out. But all those lovely fresh green leaves coming out for the torchwood. Truly a beautiful shape, that tree. And in a few months the trees in the foreground are going to have their leaves, so we very seldom are going to get this view of the whole tree from this kind of distance. Going to get a lot denser than that. At the top, thicker and greener. There's all fresh new leaves. Okay. Sorry. Tweaks in Cape Town. You know, it's almost more exciting to have someone from Cape Town than it is to have someone from New York. But only because it's South Africa, and it's nice to have someone from South Africa aboard. But wanting to show the size difference between a scops owl and a giant eagle owl with my hands. Okay, I'll try. We can actually look down on the den from here. Also, a unique opportunity to do so because it's this time of the year before the leaves come out, before it's too dense. No one at the mouth of the den. No one in the car park. And the hyena den's got its own car park. And little pockets of green now in the distance. We look out over this view many times during the year. Sometimes it's lush and green. Today it's a bit smoky and hazy, but there are still little pockets of very light green coming in. It's so encouraging to see it. So we're going left at this right or right at this left?
Right at this left.
Okay. We do want to find some animals for Miss Mac's class. There were so many elephants today. We need to go and look for some of those elephants. I want to know what the school is, where the class is, and okay, sorry, I haven't even gotten to that part yet. Okay, scops owl, my hands, scops owl about that big.
Can't see because your hat's in the way.
And my hat's always in the way. I have to cut my head off to get the hat off. So about the size of my hand for a scops owl. Giant eagle owl, probably 4 hands.
Don't try this at home.
Don't try this at home. What? Read a book and drive. Oh, you see, the brain's got to try and divide between the two.
Right a bit.
Activities. Where'd the owls go in the bird book? I used to know every page off by heart.
Left a bit.
In rally driving, when you're driving at 120 kilometers an hour and you've got a sheer drop going down sort of like from the height of Machu Picchu and a very narrow road. Oh, there's a raptor that just flew ahead of us. Right a little bit and left a little bit doesn't exactly help much, but I'll take it for now. It was a raptor, folks, those of you in Miss Mac's class. Raptor, R-A-P-T-O-R, a raptor. From the word wrapped. No, it's not. From the word rapacious. Rapacious. No. Rapacious might come from the word raptor. I don't know the etymology of words. I just can connect them somehow. But he flew into a tree here. Bird of prey. Could have been an eagle. It was more likely an eagle, but maybe it was an eagle owl. Speaking of which, maybe someone out there on planet Earth can tell me where Geo George the eagle owl has gone to. we seen him or her again. West. I like the word west when they're talking about the Mulwanini. Sorry, Sept. Oh. And that's Mrs. Jacobson's class. Oh. Okay, so first grade class from Mrs. Mac's class was asking a question, and we've got another fourth grade class. Anyways, I'm gonna get something. I said at the beginning of drive we're going to have a show and tell today, and it's almost like I knew somehow something told me to do this, and maybe that's because something told me that we were going to have this very question from a classroom. I don't know, let's just call it serendipitous. Serendipity. And okay, now Seb, if you could just tell me again, because I was concentrating on something else. Tell me again, the class, not Mrs. Mac's class that asked us, the fourth grade class is Mrs. Robinson and Jacobson. Okay, so the class wanted to know, well, yesterday you learned that only African animals have horns and not antlers, and you wanted to know if only males have horns. And I know this is not exactly what you were saying, but this is maybe just to add to the lesson from yesterday. This is the top of a skull, and you can all have a guess in the classroom, and your teachers can email me your answers. Have a vote what you think it is. We've got two classes. We've got a grade 1 class, first grade, and we've got a fourth grade class, and in competition with each other. I know this. See here, it doesn't matter about age, because even a 50-year-old might not know the answer. So this has got nothing to do with first grade and fourth grade. This is a question for the classrooms. What animal was this? We can see the horns were very heavy and curling upwards, so they're actually only two. Let's see which class can get it right. But what I wanted to show you, most important of all, is that although a lot of the skull has been eaten, and that's hyena and lion, and it was probably killed by lion, maybe it was killed by hyena, I don't know. It's hard to tell. This is so old. It's probably several years old, and maybe even some of the wee viewers can tell me which one of the presenters might have brought this back to camp, because this was lying in camp. And I've been watching it, well, looking at it as the grass has died away now at the dry season, thinking that I want to bring it on drive and explain something to you. And this is a perfect opportunity to do so, because this animal used to have really beautiful horns, but what we see when we see the animal alive is we see these beautiful black shiny horns that would probably come to about here where my finger is, and that's the horn covering. And inside
where your finger was?
my finger was, well, about here is where the horn would have come to, which is an extra 1.5 2 inches away from that point. This has been eaten by chewed on, but the horn covering would have covered this whole skull area, and it would have created, I'm going to call it a boss, but we don't really call it a boss for this animal, and that's a clue. But it has all been eaten away over years and over time, I can see algae and fungi, all sorts of things. There's even probably a bit of moss growing on the skull. It's been in the rain for many years, so it's a very, very old skull. But despite its age, there's still remnants here of an insect that actually eats the horny covering of the hoofed animals and the animals with horns. And I'm going to get to the other question whether only males have horns. But here at the back you can see here are just the last bits of the horn that covers this animal's head, or the horny part. And these insects have been eating it. It's the larva of an insect. It's going to pupate, it's going to turn into a moth and fly away, and it's the larva of this moth that chews into the horn and makes these tunnels of silk with the byproduct of what they eat from the horn. And eventually all that is left is this horn. Now if you look at antelope, for some reason, let's try and get, or rather not antelope but deer. When deer's horns are severed by the skull and they fall off, I don't know how the process works, but it looks very similar to this. But for some reason, the antelope in Africa, they keep this part of the skull. There's still blood vessels and still nerve endings and all sorts of things that come into this part of the skull.
I think it's just a lack of blood supply.
It's somehow, yeah.
I think it's something to do with
But
that
what's
part of
interesting to me is that there's this very similar, very distinct line between the skull and here where the bone is, because this calcium deposit builds up over time. And so it makes the horns bigger. This was a big male, by the way, this animal. I'm waiting for answers. Interestingly, though, that this moth is the same family as the dreaded clothes moth. And you know what? I'm going to liberate the spirit of this wildebeest.
You just said the answer.
Huh?
Just said what it is.
Okay, I just said what it is. I'm not as good as you as this quiz thing. I'd give it away all the time. I'd be talking about it so much I'd forget and then talk about the animal. So Mrs. Mack's class, the first graders, came back with buffalo, and that was before I said wildebeest. And and the fourth graders came back with buffalo. No, wildebeest. Fourth graders wildebeest, first graders buffalo. Okay, so the fourth graders win. Gee, I wanted the first graders to win.
But I'm impressed that they came back with both.
Oh no, I'm very impressed that they came back with both of the right. I said one of only two. Well done. Okay, now I want questions from you. Tell me what you're learning and let's see if I can show you something that gives an example of what you're learning. Whether it's biology or I can't hear you, Sept. Sorry. No, it's breaking up. Let's just get back onto Philemon's cut line. It will be a good time. Unfortunately, I'm the wrong person to ask because I love it all year round. I mean, every time of the year has got its special moments. Now is great. Ooh, some zebra. Okay, zebra for the classroom. Are you okay? Did you swallow a beetle? Just a frog. Tara's choking. Might have to do the Heimlich. Hello, baby zebra. What's a baby zebra called? First graders, fourth graders. Zebra. Zebra. The little one at the back there, that's probably 8 months, 6 or 8 months maybe. And I'm guessing this might be Daddy, the big stallion. Got a very heavy chest, got a thick neck. You can see just in front of his front legs, look how heavy that chest is. He's a strong male, this very strong stallion. Except he's the mare, probably the mother of this little one. Now that I look with my binoculars, she's just a very strong mare. Okay, so mares can also have a very heavy chest, thick neck muscles. Funny, I really thought it was the stallion. It's not hard to make mistakes in nature. What flycatchers? Oh, Cecil. Oh, Mrs. Jacobson's class. Hi guys. Asking if those birds were sisal-tailed flycatchers. No, we don't get those here in South Africa. I have to be honest, I've never heard of one. We do get a flycatcher that has a very long tail. It's a beautiful russet red color with a blue head. It's called the paradise flycatcher. But those were shrikes, and for a long time they were known as long-tailed shrikes. They're now, to be in line with more international birding nomenclature, they are now called magpie shrikes. I'll show you a picture in the book. Let me get my other old book, bigger pictures. Too many books. I've got a box of books. I've got to take books with me everywhere I go, even if I don't touch them for a few days. But this is why I bring my books, so that sometimes when we don't have it on camera for too long, we can turn to the book and I can show you what we're looking at in the book. So let's start with there, the shrikes, and there's the long-tailed shrike. From a black and white animal to a black and white bird. And this is a page of shrikes. Actually, if you know, I've just remembered, there's another bird we've got to guess when it's going to come back to South Africa, and it's this little bird at the top here. There's the female and here's the male, the little redback shrikes. But this is the bird we were looking at, making a really beautiful noise, now known as a magpie shrike, also known as a long-tailed shrike. But in terms of flycatchers, we've only got one flycatcher that has got a long tail, and that would be this one. Sorry, before we get to the zebra, come back. There we go. That's the only long-tailed flycatcher that we have. Zip. Autofocus. This beautiful, that's the male. Beautiful long red tail. And he's only going to start growing that tail now. He doesn't have that tail. See, I've got to move the book up because his tail's so long. You know. And then here's the little girl, the female. And they build a really beautiful little cup nest out of lichen. Your project. out of lichen and spiderweb and all sorts of things. Thin bits of grasses and trailing vines of creepers. Okay, we're going to move forward. We're going to find you something else.
I saw a paradise flycatcher the other day.
I saw two yesterday at Vuatella. Hello zebras. Hello baby. Ms. Max classroom, good question there. I like that question because we've got 4 different zebras. We've got 2 moms and 2 babies here. The other little foal is actually a little bit younger. And Tara, the question is, this is Ms. Max class, are the stripes on a zebra like a fingerprint? So is there some way we can sort of zoom in on, let's say, the shoulder? Let's go on to this mama's shoulder, kind of just above the chest area where that triangle is. See, there's, oh, that's that mama, not this. That's that. Okay, that doesn't matter. But look, say that. Take that area where the front leg comes into the shoulder, just where the neck starts. You see those lovely triangle shapes on her, where her shoulder goes into her neck. Okay, now we'll look at this mama's. Okay, we had a brief look at babies. Look at her. She's got a much different shape to hers. And if we go to both of those babies, we'll see that both of those babies are different. And you know that if we had to show you every single one of the 20,000 zebras that are here in South Africa, or no, not South Africa, how many zebras are here in, where's my piece of paper? Not here. Can't remember how many zebras they estimated. But then all the zebra up in Kenya that are part of the migration, those hundreds of thousands, every single zebra will have a different pattern, and it's not only there on the shoulder. You can choose any patch on any zebra and look at it. Let's look at the back, the saddle. That is another one of my favorites. Look at the very distinct difference between this mare, and she's actually, look, baby's drinking. Little one's going to start drinking now. She's, oh no, that one's also going to drink. Both babies are going to drink. But okay, there's, unfortunately the youngster's drinking from the other side. You can just see its head underneath her belly there. But look at her from her shoulder going back. You can see where her saddle is going back onto the rump. She's got very dark, very thick stripes, and in between those stripes on the back side, on the rump, there's a very faint stripe which we call the shadow stripe. And you see how different she is to the other mama that was also just suckling her baby. Okay, get a picture of that in your mind's eye. And look, she's got spots and a really beautiful color. And her shadow stripes, well, there's even a shadow stripe that looks like it could be a main stripe. She's got a, so every single zebra in the world is different. Like every single human is different. But interestingly, look, her baby has got a few spots on the back. And if we look at this other little foal that is about to come out now, we'll find that this little foal has also got more solid lines rather than the spots. So there's a fair amount of genetic inheritance going on. There's a fair amount of taking on the pattern of your mother, or the gene of your mother. It's actually a very nice, there's the same family, they've probably got the same father. The mares come from different families, obviously. But this is how the whole genetic pool gets mixed up, is that these two mares then meet up with the same stallion, who's probably around here somewhere. He's got to be. There can't be two lonely mares with their foals. Just turn sideways, little one, so we can see you more like your mum and different to the other foal. You see the little ones are also a little bit more furry, they're a little bit sort of fluffy. Brent, just turn the color down on your monitor. It's easier than to go through the settings to turn the. Brent wants us to turn the color down to see what other animals see. It's pretty much the same thing. There are no colors, so it's pretty much the same thing. What we're seeing now is pretty much the same thing that even animals in monochrome see, because there are no colors. So it doesn't really help to turn down anything. Because it's not really, animals are not really strictly black and white vision. It's more monochromatic. It's kind of like they see different shades and different hues for the different colors. There's a zebra in the background. That might be the stallion. Oh, there are a few there. Hello, Linda in North Carolina. Just mentioning that your grandson was saying, and grandson is first grader, saying how they've learnt how different animals use their tails. Well, I'd like to learn that too. I'd like to learn what you've learnt, young man. I'm just looking at this female. She's got a very distinct spot just behind the saddle. There's a very distinct little. Look at this baby. It's got a fluffy forehead. It's almost like you just want to go and cuddle. But an interesting thing to talk about is how animals use their tails. And there are no flies, it's not hot, there's no real need for these zebra to be swishing their tails. So don't necessarily swish their tails to keep the flies away, because there aren't really any flies now. But for a lot of animals, sorry, I should have said something. For a lot of animals, the swishing of the tail is just a reassuring gesture to each other. It's kind of like while you've got your head down and you're grazing and you can't see where danger might be coming from. Bye, zebra. Thank you. It might be a good idea to let everybody else know that it's not dangerous. You can carry on eating. You can relax a little bit. But then also you have to remember that if the animals all have to be talking to each other all the time, and there's this whole herd of animals and they're all saying different things to each other, you can imagine this noise that the predators would use just to sneak up on them. So over time, animals don't have so much of a spoken language as much as they have a body language. And that kind of tail flicking that as the zebras are doing now is very much kind of a body language thing. They switch their tails because they're feeling comfortable, and it means that the rest of the herd can all graze and they can all switch their tails and they can all not worry about having to look up because there might be danger. If there is a problem, the one zebra would stop swishing its tail, and then the others would then soon realize, hang on, something's up. Because you also don't want to say to all your other zebras, you don't want to say, oh, careful, look out, because that's going to change things. So you want to do it silently. So you stop swishing your tail. The other animals all look up to see why you stop swishing your tail, and they stop swishing their tails. So it's a way of animals to communicate. That's one of the most basic sort of tail messages that they give. There are a lot of others that they give. Some of the things like the cats, for example, the cats tell all sorts of emotions with their tail. In fact, they can be a warning when cat's tail is going side to side, especially if you're walking on foot and you meet up with, what is that, a mongoose? There's a little colony here. Especially if you're walking and you come across a predator like a lion or a leopard and it's angry or it's not angry, it doesn't matter what it, they've all gone hiding now. See, I got a few faces peering out of the dwarf mongoose. Interrupted myself. But the cat's very expressive, and sometimes if you can heed the warning of a cat's tail before it has to get aggressive, it's the difference between life and death sometimes. So this is one of our smallest little predators. I suppose you don't get big little predators, you only get small little predators. So one of our smallest predators, known as a dwarf mongoose, not a rodent, not related to mice and rats at all. If anything, they're actually related to cats. Franklin making a noise. While we're watching them, I'm just going to see what's happening in the rest of the world. Oops. Suppose I better listen for a bit. Afternoon stations, getting mobile, any update? You can see more zebra further down. Hi, Tex.
Good afternoon, how are you, boss?
Very good, thanks.
Good, thanks, man. Yeah, Kurulama people, someone Obris Road, and also Makuru Champignari, approaching till 3 hours jam.
Thanks, Tex. Who's with Ingwe?
Aubrey and Graham is making his way there.
Copy, thanks.
I'm sure as also drove someone Galago shortcut.
Alright, thanks, Tex. Sounds like we've got a full plate ahead of us. Been talking so much, haven't followed the radio. Email or website? It's Franklin shouting here as well. There's something. I don't think there's an email. There's all these lion tracks. Probably the tracks I was seeing this morning. Lots of lion tracks here. Okay, so something there that the go-away birds and Franklins have been shouting at. I wouldn't be surprised if it's another one of the leopards. Starting to cool down rapidly. We are going to bypass the zebra. I want to get up to Aubrey's Road. Very special thing to see up there. So you're going to have to delay leaving class, kids. You're not allowed to go anywhere. Your next teacher will come and join you at this class. If we can, we don't want to disturb the zebra too much, especially this old girl at the back here. She's very pregnant. She's going to have a baby soon. She's ready to burst. Look at the size of her.
She's going to pop.
Here's the stallion. Hello, stallion. Hi, Mr. Zeb. Okay, there's evidently a few hundred buffalo just off to our right, drinking at Treehouse Dam. But I'm not going to delay. I want to get somewhere else quickly. Well, not that quickly, but I need to get somewhere else. I want to show, if we can, before these first and fourth graders disappear. We want to see something special, very special. I can't believe how big this zebra is. But I'll remember the stallion, so I'll be able to. And then that youngster's got a nice big lion scar on its rump. So, actually, let me find out from Abel. I think Abel's probably going to be wanting to go to where I want to go. Hello, Mr. Zebra. Abel? Nagufambaing. Anda naman egg. Okay, dawa na kuli. Okay, so let's go to Treehouse Dam, see these buffalo first. Hundreds of buffalo. Why have you on me when there's this beautiful light on this stallion?
Because you were going.
I wasn't, I was waiting for Abel to come past because he's obviously going to the leopard first. Okay. And I'll let you go first. I'll be there afterwards. A really beautiful light on this herd of zebra. Okay, let's go and see a few hundred buffalo drinking water, and we'll try and get to those cats as soon as we can. I've only just come on the radio, so I've got to kind of take my time a little bit. Okay, Sumac was saying we should say the names of the animals, local names of the animals. Yeah, you're right, Sumac, we should. Zebra in Shangaan is Mangwa. M-A-N-G-W-A.
What's zebra in Afrikaans?
Zebra in Afrikaans is a zebra. With an S. I don't know, Afrikaans zebra is
That's one I've never heard.
a zebra. Herman, where are you when we need you?
Cape Town.
Cape Town. In Zulu, zebra is idube. I-D-U-B-E. Idube. There's a lodge called Idube. In Swahili, zebra is Punda Maria. Punda Malia. Sometimes L's and R's are transposed. That's the word I was thinking of the other day. Transposed. So, we still got our classrooms with us. Do we still have? Buffalo moving away from the dam, I'm not hearing much from Seb other than sort of really broken up signal. So Treehouse Dam was forego radio contact for a bit. Have a look at a few hundred buffalo coming to this waterhole. The food of lion, everybody. And for those of you who've been viewers for a while and who know what we're talking about when I talk about things like the matimbas, you must know that when you have a coalition, a group of male lions like the matimbas, it takes following a herd of buffalo like this to keep their palates satisfied. Actually, not so much their palate as much as it is their stomachs. Wonderful. I mean, that's the world full of buffalo. 180 degrees worth, and no doubt stretching far back. Huge bull here in front of us in his prime. Not yet one of those Duggar boys out on his own like some of them that we know. This big bull here that we're looking at now. We're just going to get to a position where we can see the bulk of them drinking in this light. It's really a beautiful sight to see. And one hippo. I can hear buffalo far into the distance. Two boys here having a nice little go at each other. They're not always lion following a herd of buffalo, but sometimes when you get the likes of the matimbas, 6 male lion, sometimes the only thing that they're able to really subsist on are buffalo, and being able to track a herd of buffalo, not easy, or rather it's not that difficult for anybody. You don't even need to be a tracker to follow a herd of buffalo, especially if you're a lion. Not that difficult. They finished sparring, these boys. I do, Seb. Joey, zebra in Afrikaans is zebra. That's what I thought. Thanks, Joey. Oh yeah, I just pushed them off, Henry. What you doing? Unbelievable. Sure. The sound that comes out of a herd like this is not very different to the sound that comes out of a huge herd of cattle, and it just shows how closely related they are. A lot of mooing and grunting and mooing. and grunting. And now's the time to go to the leopards. We want to be able to be there before. This light is incredible. The cloud is burnt away. I think the question from Deb wasn't copying too well. How long does it take for termites to make a mound that big? I guess referring to that termite mound where the mongoose were. That is an ancient mound. Gosh, that one must be a few hundred years old. But of course the termites are no longer living in it. There might be a secondary colony deep down in the base of it, but the pinnacle itself is dead. And it's the pinnacle that actually helps with maintaining the proper temperature, what we call thermoregulation, to be able to sustain a very large colony. And sometimes when that large colony collapses, you might get a secondary or a tertiary colony existing for a short period, but by no means is able to sustain the whole thing. I mean, just coming up ahead of us on the right hand side now is another big old mound from a few hundred years, and there are bushes growing on top of it that are 50 years old. And there's a guarri, and there's an old, what could be maybe a false marula or something, or is it a big raisinwood? I'm gonna have to look a bit closer when it's got leaves on it. But there are trees on it that have been there for 50 years. So some of them can be, how can I put it? Some of them have been there for centuries. Right, let me talk to powers that be. Which station with Ingwe? How many vehicles on lock, and what's the standby look like?
2 vehicles.
Thanks, Graham. Make my way there from triage. Pam in Minnesota. Hello, Pam. Interesting question, but I think I might have an answer for you. And just approaching these other zebra now might give me a bit of a impetus for my answer. Now, Pam is asking, notice that zebra are related to horses, yet with the zebra, their mane stands up straight, yet with horses it flops down and it's much longer. Here's go.
Ja, Mark, did you check some music cars?
Only from Zoe's Road. I couldn't see any action from Zoe's Road. I didn't go down there. So, one of the things that I can think of is the hairs, the hairs on the mane, the mane's on the hair. We've got to stop and look at the marulas. They're starting to get their leaves and flowers. We'll do that my next drive. But the mane on a wild animal is there to serve a purpose, and for most of them, the hairs act as almost like sensory hairs to protect the back of the neck, especially when the head is down. If they've got to lift their head up, the hairs touch something and they know there's something to mind the head, because they can't necessarily see what's behind the head. So my guess is that a zebra's mane sticks up like that. Partly, not completely, only partly, because it needs to have some sort of sensory perception about its surroundings when its head's down in the grasses feeding. Domestic horses have been bred that way. In fact, you probably find that somewhere over the years, horse breeders might have capitalized on the gene for long hair and floppy hair, and also they're different breeds, they're different animals, so there's no reason why what goes for a zebra would have to be the same for a horse. But the one thing that I could think of is that maybe in domestic situations you've got zebra, water buck, you've got animals that have whose genetic makeup, especially the genetic makeup for the mane, has been altered by humans. Wow, there's a beautiful big kudu through the bush. Don't know if we're going to get to see it. I only just saw the sun glinting on his horns. Just to get a quick glimpse through there, maybe.
Plus, I'm looking at a different one.
I'm looking at that one in there. Oh, yeah, it's even closer. Sorry. Magnificent. Two beautiful kudu bulls. Who wanted kudu yesterday?
Naomi, and I couldn't find a kudu.
Naomi in Pretoria.
Yeah, Naomi.
Naomi, Pretoria, you with us? Here's a kudu for you. There are two big bulls here, actually. There's one. He's looking at the other one. Starting to make his way down there. Sorry, they're a bit far off and they're looking into the sun. That gives a little bit of a reflection off the horns. See if I just roll a little bit. It's getting into really dense stuff now. Nothing happening at the hyena den, according to Aubrey. They're different from when we were there a few hours ago, minutes ago. How long was it? A little while ago. Cold tea. At least it's got honey in it. Right. Beautiful day turning out to be. Clear skies. We must be going into new moon pretty soon. When is the moon rising? It's probably only rising at about 2 o'clock in the morning. Moon's been close to Jupiter the last few nights. Actually no, I don't even think we're in last quarter yet. We might only be in last quarter now. Yes, I think so. Yesterday in California, asking if mongoose spray like cats and does it smell like cats. Definitely it smells even worse than cats. And yes, they do have anal glands and they do mark their territories. I suppose somewhat different to the way cats do it, but the white-tailed mongoose is probably worse than a skunk with the spray that it has, with the anal gland liquid that it produces. And tomato sauce doesn't work. Hang on, Sept.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I think we're going to get 3 meters out. I'm not going to 2 meters. I'm sure Mark is going to go there. Yeah, he's here.
Texan, come in.
Come up.
Where are you in for?
Just trying to follow friends.
Yeah, well, so you were in front of me for that Ingwe then.
Where are you now?
I'm just passing power lines on Weir's access.
Are you in front of me from the house? You go around on the follow plants and come along the village.
Copy, thanks. Protocol. Okay, it might have first grade, Mrs. Max in first grade might have already gone for lunch, but if you haven't, bye everybody, have a great lunch. Don't forget your vegetables. And sorry, I had to put that one in. I hope you're still there, but thanks for joining me and thanks for the questions. And great that you could join up with us. And bye. 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 I'm sorry, I was hoping you'd stay for the next 2 minutes, 5 minutes, because well, you'll see archives when you come back from lunch. Animals don't work to a time frame. Animals have their own time. Hello, Vivian. Oh, it's getting chilly. I didn't think it was going to be this cold this evening. Vivian wanted to know if I could shed some light onto the reason why there's fewer spiders this year. Is that Illinois? Record rainfall in July has got a lot to do with it. If you're saying you had a record rainfall, because, well, spiders drown so easily, but if it just keeps washing their webs out and washing them out. But one of the things I was going to say is if there have been fewer spiders, it could have only been due to climatic conditions, weather changes, colder conditions in winter, that eggs might not have survived, a whole bunch of things. It's very critical to a lot of the orb web weavers that come out for every season are what happens to them after they hatch. The egg might actually be well protected because they have this beautiful silken case that they put their eggs in, but there up ahead of us, it's the leopard. Graham, come in. Can I join you? Thank you. So one of the most critical times for spiders is just after they've hatched out of their eggs, and when they're very vulnerable. Pardon? Oh, okay. Sour plum. Big termite mound. They must be on the termite mound. Mostly that side, which would be looking into the sun. Okay, well, I guess we have to try and squeeze through here. I can't see either one of them. Going down to the base just behind that Combretum. They're good. Beautiful. Fortunately not too bright.
That was just sort of might be heading south because they were just heading towards the bottom road.
Can you see any others? Just that one.
I think the other one, judging by where the cameras are pointing, is somewhere maybe just to the other side of them.
Other side of that tree, maybe. So, to our viewers, who is this? As the day wears on and getting closer to sundown, I'm sure there'll be a little bit more activity, and I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to be here now, was to make sure that when things cool down and they might move. I don't even know if all three of them are here. It might just be the two kids. Ears go forward to listen to the vehicle, they go back because there was a go-away bird calling. Ears constantly alert for a sound that doesn't maybe fit in. The sounds that it's hearing, its brain is processing, is not needing to be too concerned about. And that's evident. Miss Jacobson's 4th grade is still with us. That's nice to know. Oh boy. There's a cat getting a little bit angry. Is that her? Is that her? Oh, it is Karula.
No,
Oh, Shavinzi. Getting angry. Shavinzi's getting very cross. Oh, because she chased something. Tara, camera. Maybe a mouse or something in the grass. So what happened was when Tex drove up there, he probably chased something like a lizard or a mouse or something in the grass, and the little one reacted more to something running in the grass than to Texan. So nice to have the 4th graders still with us. And, well, we do know how old this little girl is, because we know more or less when they were born. Alfira, Binky, Ginny, and Rosie coming back with Shavinzi. A lot of birds alarming at her now. So, well done to you to identify her. Born last year, mid-November, so she's 10 months old. No, I don't know where little brother is. Let's see if we can find him. Let's see if we can find her again. Catch up with her. She's not going far, she's just sniffing around the grasses a little bit. Termite now, she might be heading to that. Hello. Just behind this bush. She does have a tendency to wander a little bit further away from where Karula leaves them. There's a nice fallen marula tree up ahead that she might land up in. Oh, there's a sleeping hyena too. One of them pieces just up ahead. That's Floppy ear.
Floppy is babysitting.
Babysitting. There we go. Karula's left Floppy ear to babysit. I don't know. It's Floppy ear. Okay, it's Floppy ear. I just. Suppose. Yeah. She's probably going to climb that bush, that little tree, in the late afternoon sun, so we want to try and get to see her there. Let's try and move around a little bit. Hello, Floppy ear. Look at her, just waiting patiently. And she's probably waiting. Let's just have a look at her quickly. Probably waiting patiently because she knows that if Karula's not here, Karula's going to go off and fetch the cubs and bring the cubs back to her kill. And it's probably Floppy ear's way of making sure that she can get to a kill without having to use too much energy. What's up, old girl? Trying to stare it out, it's not working. Okay, let's go see if we can see Shivinzi again. Doesn't seem like you're going anywhere. Ooh. No, was it nearly the sidewall?
That was nearly the same.
These are good tires. Shut up. Shut up. Where you going, little girl? It's almost like she's doing her own little bit of hunting, actually. Maybe she's looking for brother. Oh, there's an interesting feature. There's a termite mound there that's cracked the top of its peak pinnacle. She's stalking something. She's looking at something. Oh, that is beautiful. Look at me, Shivinzi. Yo, Shivinzi. Please look this way, little girl. think she's kind of going after something. She's trying to keep a low profile. So am I, so that my head doesn't get in the way. Just like her mother. Okay, can we move? That's a beautiful mound. I wish she'd go up to the top. Oh, there's a bird she just missed. Oh, she didn't even go for it. Please go to the top of that termite mound, little girl. No, she's bypassing it. No, she's not. She's going to the top. Go, 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 go.
One man on the top of the structure.
She's going to sit up there and she's going to aim for something. So we're going to try and get to a nice position. See her. Pity about this fallen, this knob thorn leaning over. Oh, there's a little gap through there for Tara. Well, it's the most open we can get right now. To be able to see where she might run to if she goes after something. Huge termite mound. I need to put on a jersey. She's looking at her knee spots. Licking her lips. She's watching something. Maybe the francolin or something. Mongoose. Okay, let's go onto the road. We'll get a clear view of her from that side. We'll try and get through here onto the road before she makes a move. Oh, clutch. Eating grass now. So that's the best we can do for now. Can go back and might be able to get the sun behind her. That'd be a great shot. She's watching something in front of us. Okay, while she's not moving, I'm just going to move out of the sighting briefly. I just got to check on something quickly. Be able to catch the sun. Just the brief pause. Sort something out with that antenna. And you get a good view of the sun there. Okay, back to the cat. It would be nice to see if little boy is going to show his face, and it would be even nicer to see if Karulu is going to come back this way. Hello, Janina. Nice question from Janina, wanting to know if these youngsters have caught anything large themselves yet, or when can we expect them to do so. Unfortunately, Janina, we don't spend every moment of their lives with them, and sometimes there are big gaps in their lives that we don't see. So we don't really know yet. Nothing that we've seen, I think is the best way to answer that. Nothing that we've seen in terms of large. In fact, I haven't seen them catch anything. But that doesn't mean that they haven't. I'm sure they've caught birds and rodents and lizards, and I'm sure they've been catching a lot of, in fact, not I'm sure, they have to have been catching things up until now. It's just the nature of leopards that in the summer months, going in towards May when they were getting 6 months, 8 months old, there would have been a lot of stuff happening. A lot of things around for them to chase. See, now she sees something, she almost automatically goes into kind of a hunt mode. Pauses to chew some grasses, just aids digestion, aids pushing fiber, push food through the system. But she saw something. What she might be looking at is actually a brother somewhere. Not sure about that yet. But we could expect them to catch anything at any moment. I'm trying to think how old Nduna was when he caught that first. Well, what we saw was him first. It was probably just over a year, actually, now that I think of it. It was just over a year when he caught his first impala, I think. But she's big enough to take down a duiker or a steenbok, a youngster. I don't think she's experienced enough to take an adult duiker or steenbok. But then again, both duiker and steenbok are very, very fast, and she would have to get really, really close to do so. Seb, do you remember how old Mishu was when he went after that little steenbok? Can't remember when that footage was. Okay, so he would have been an older, yeah, sorry, yeah. Up to a year older, maybe. And there's so much about this particular cat that almost she behaves like an adult already. There are things about her that are so mature. Her attentiveness, just a lot about her. It's becoming a very special cat. I'd love to be able to get that orange ball of the sun in front of her face. I don't know if we'll be able to. Already very selective over what grass it is that she wants to eat. She needs a grass blade that has a particular roughage, perhaps, that will help clean intestine linings. It'll help get rid of intestinal worms. It'll help with a lot of things. A beautiful coat. Now we might, where she is now. I'm going to try this. We've got to try this. Sorry, Tara. Just not very many times we get this opportunity. I just want to see if we can't just line up that last little bit of the sun with her. No, I don't think we will. No, that sun ends behind it, another termite mound.
What it works.
Nice try. We'll keep it in mind for future attempts. Just the orange, big orange red ball that's fighting through the smog and the murkiness, the smirkiness, smog and the murkiness of late dry season fires in the distance. Such a pretty girl. We are so lucky. Sorry. What can you see up there? It's such a tiny little tree. You can't possibly be thinking of going up there, surely. Yeah, you can jump on the car. Then you'll be in front of the sunset. I can almost see the gears working in her head. Track 2, hyena. Okay. Sure, 10 points. Oh, I missed it. That should... Luann, hello Luann. Now we can get the sun. This is...
No, it's too low now.
It's too low. If I moved back we would, but then we're going to miss this. So, well, would have been nice. I think she's just... I don't know. She's going to try and balance on there to try and get to that spider web or what? Something in there maybe. Andrew?
How are you?
Good, and you?
I just bumped into you there, but that's back there.
On Aubrey's Road. Yeah, it's just me. Yeah, come in. Sorry, oh, she's taking me up on that offer. There's my steering wheel. She's coming to the road behind me. Andrew, keep coming on the road. There's a big tree, but it's got a lot of dead bark. You don't want to climb that big one. And takes Andrew's unlock with me. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't be surprised. That's what I was trying to think of saying. I wouldn't be surprised if this little girl is independent of Karula long before any of her previous cubs. Oh! Going to be in front of Andrew's car. We'll catch up with her shortly. Nice big boobean that she's aiming for. There's a beautiful termite mound down there with a big scotia or boobean in full bloom. It'd be lovely to see her go down to that tree and that termite mound. Seems to like doing this. He stands on these logs, front legs on these logs. Looking at this tree now. That's the tree for her. Got this boobean and flower. This is becoming a classic pose of hers for today. Feet up on the log. Maybe she can hear Karula coming or something. Stopping and listening, trying to get a little bit of a view above the grasses. Ah, it's a hyena. That's also probably why she's been looking at trees and looking at her options with some of the trees. There's another hyena. Hyena hasn't seen her yet. Another PC coming here, Andrew. Hyena's just seen her. This is the other mother. This is the other mom with the nicks in her right.
2 notches in her right ear.
2 notches in her right ear, yeah. The mom from the hyena then. She's walking right up to little Shavinzi. And Shavinzi's not even attempting to climb a tree yet. Intimidating hyena enough. Hello, come along. Go around the other way. Look at that incredible interaction. She's just watching. I think maybe hyena can smell floppy ear. Look at that. Wow, I know we're kind of blocked with trees here, but wow. That was quite amazing. Hyena's smelling something. Could be floppy ear. Completely ignored the leopard. She's also none too concerned. I can go back an inch and get rid of those knobthorn leaves. Oh, she's probably not going to stay there long. At least get those leaves out of the way. Oh, that's such a beautiful tree that she's looking at. You see, it's the nature of leopard and the way that they live and the way that they hunt and the way that they learn about life. Something's going on behind us and she's making her way back there. Could be she's hearing something. Could be brothers back there. Reaching the limit of her wandering. Oh, hyena sniffing around the termite mound where she's been lying. She's watching the hyena up on that termite mound, that very big one. And she's actually making her way towards that hyena. That could hurt, getting whipped in the face by that. So as I was saying, it's their nature that they grow up getting interested in anything that moves within their little world that is around them, and especially the times when mom leaves them and goes off hunting, times when they're hungry, they're driven a little bit more by instinct, and they're inquisitive. So when there's something that moves in their immediate environment, when they're on their own, like now when Karula's not around, the older they get, perhaps the more adventurous and braver they get in terms of exploring their immediate surrounds. But it's every time they experience something in life, it kind of goes into the memory bank. So when they have these confrontations with hyena, or if they hear lion in the immediate vicinity, and the times that they've been with mom, perhaps they've learned how to avoid certain circumstances, certain situations, they feel, what now? She's gone behind us now. I see now. It's on the road behind us. Guy ropes of the antenna that hold the antenna up. Okay, I'll turn around again. And let's turn around again while she's still on the road. No. Thanks, Seb. Interesting information from Seb, because he's probably been listening to the radio. Let's just tell me, there's a lot of chatter this afternoon, and I just didn't want the noise of the radio. Oh, from Shan. Thanks, Shan. Even more so, even better. Shan saying that there's wild dog on Gary Main, up and down. The problem is, for me, at any rate, right now, Gary Main, the wild dog, it's not going to be a sighting for very long. It's dark, they'll have to leave them be. But they're running up and down, and no doubt a lot of vehicles there and a lot of chatter on the radio. And as much as I want to see wild dog, a bird in the hand is worth a pack of dogs running wild in the bush. No, it's a leopard on hand. I don't know if some of you can remember, but there was a time towards the end of summer. This is Aubrey's Road. We had this marula tree pushed over. The very tree that she's sitting on was actually pushed right over the road by a big elephant. And we came along, and we had a herd of elephant feeding on all the branches a few days after it had been pushed down. We were sitting just a little bit further up on the road, facing the other way. We actually had to drive around in the bush to get around this marula tree that had been pushed over. And there was another time we were coming back along Aubrey's Road, and there was this herd of ellies here, and they were all standing around. They actually had a wonderful time with them. Well, subsequently, the marula was cut up to be removed from the road, and that's why we see those very distinct cuts on the trunk of that tree just behind her. That was a very old marula tree that had fallen over. Beautiful light at the moment, yeah. No, the radio is really, it makes so much noise if there's a sighting like that. And it's just such a beautiful, peaceful time right now to not have to chase after the radio. But a rare opportunity that we can spend a quiet moment. We've got a beautiful sky, the remnants of cloud that are still up there, wisps of cloud are turning pink and orange. So it's like the entire sky is ablaze with the sunset, and it is reflected in the light that we're watching her in, and in the other vehicles. It's just the peace and quiet of the early evening bushveld. Birds going to bed. I can hear babblers competing with each other. She's getting bored. Dee 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 dee. The dreaded beep 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 beep. Alex did help this morning. We isolated a problem, but still short in charging time. So hopefully tonight get a chance to charge these batteries fully and hopefully back to normal tomorrow. Let's follow her a little bit. I don't think we've ever had any of Karula's youngsters wandering around as much as this at this age. And let's catch up again. What? What did I do?
You just moved just to that last point.
What, you wanted to walk out a shot?
Yeah. Had something in mind.
You must tell me then. No, but I suppose I should know these things. Sorry, Tara. I just ruined a really nice sequence of shots.
It would just be a very nice ending to that.
Okay, sorry. Alright, well, there's another bend in the road, okay? I'll remember it for next time now. Gonna get back, switch off the vehicle, and Tara's gonna kill me. There, she's walking out of shot now. Oh boy, okay. Do not start up until the camera person has zoomed out. Rule number 1. And we all do it. Can I start the car?
Yeah. I'm at neutral now.
I'm sniffing around for something again. I'm wondering how long we're going to be able to stay here though, because Le Beep. Oh, well, yeah, great. Yeah, just stand right behind the bush when I stop. And I can't roll anyway.
How can a leopard hide? Very well.
How can a leopard hide? Very well. There you go. Luann, hello Luann. Wanting to know what age she will mate. Well, if her mother's anything to go by, Luann, Mom mated at the age of 2 for the first time. Gave birth at 2.5. So Karula was about 2 1/4.
Okay, copy, thank you. Yeah, I think one month before was on Opris Road. She might get back to that month before. Okay, copy. Thank you for letting us know about that. Thank you very much. Copy.
Busy, are you sure?
Ryan, come in.
Sorry about
Are you with Ingwe?
I'm off now, I'm not. Just got the update from the guys. I'm here in the south, I was with us in the Dutch.
Where'd they get to?
They've gone southwest now, towards Hoffman.
Nice one. Are you coming up to the Ingwe?
No, I'm not going to come that side. I've seen some good ingress this morning.
Okay, copied. How many Madach?
There you go, again.
I nearly did it again. How many Madach? Okay, copy, thanks.
There must have been a few guys that came out of the north. They came down out of the middle.
Okay, yeah, could have only been between drives though. There's another bin, you can get it disappearing now again. Promise I won't stop. It wasn't me. I didn't do that. It's the. But it wasn't that bad. I mean, except for the voices, it wasn't that bad. Oh look, I've got not feet on pedals. I'm not touching anything. It's the Land Rover.
I give up.
No, it's the Land Rover that kind of went. You could hear it moaned. It's like the Land Rover's got it in for that shot, not me. Are we going to have to say goodbye to her, actually? As much as I don't want to. So, some of the wild dog were around on Gary May and they went southwest. Evidently, they'd even been on Juma during the day. There's no ways they were on Juma this morning because we would have seen their tracks. And she's lying down now. Don't need light. Still fairly bright. So I guess we could have possibly caught up with them. Sorry to have missed them. I'm normally very awake when it comes to wild dog tracks. But I guess they came off Spum Road. Gee, they were somewhere near those buffalo. Even maybe while we were with those buffalo. They wouldn't take down a buffalo though. Could be that this is more or less the area that Karula left them and she's just been wandering further away and now she's coming back to where Karula left them to be closer to hear Mom when Mom comes back calling. Drain batteries further. She's hearing something. Something else walking around. Could it be mom? Could it be brother? Something prompted her to move. Up the tree. Up the tree. Go on. Okay, go. Is that the brightest we can get?
Yeah.
Oops.
And again. Repeat. I'm asking her to go up again as a repeat.
She's looking. See, let's look around for eyes besides hers. She's
walking.
she doesn't want to play ball. She doesn't want to walk out a shot. The road turns. She's walking straight.
I suppose that shot is doomed, hey?
Today it is. Sorry, Tara. Today it's doomed. Okay, you know what? Bumping pretty hard, pretty heavy now, and you know, folks, you have to know what kind of a dilemma it is for us when we're in this situation. It's the vagaries of living out here and having to broadcast from a vehicle that has just so much power being drawn on it to broadcast to you. But we've had a fantastic evening with this little girl. Sounds like it was only her here. I thought they were all here earlier, but sounds like it was only her. I'm guessing that the little boy is somewhere on the fire break, and she's come all the way up here from the fire break where Gallego shortcut meets. Who knows? Somewhere further up north is where he's going to pick up on tracks, and hopefully they can find them for you. And that's the beauty about what we do here. And the beauty about it is that when we say goodbye to you now, join us again tomorrow. We'll try and pick up on things again tomorrow. We are making sure that we keep track of their lives, and we whenever we can, we will be with them. While dog were around, who knows, they might be around too tomorrow. So it looks like we might have an exciting day tomorrow. Skies are clear, beautiful blue sky.
Because you're not driving.
Because I'm not driving. New. What's new? What can I say? It's a beautiful world. Juma Game Reserve. Join us again tomorrow. My name is Mark. That was Tara. Back in FC with Seb. And the two of them will be on the drive tomorrow. I'll be in FC, and I'll talk to you from there. Bye, everyone. Bonne nuit.